Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
The Ramble with Alex Bennett. Tonight at 10:30 Eastern on GabNet.
Now more than ever, it's a breeze to listen to all that GabNet has to offer. Just go to gabnet.net. And along the top of our easy-to-use webpage are a series of links to all the services that carry our latest offerings. Click on YouTube, Facebook, and Vimeo, and you'll be taken to video of Alex Bennett's Ramble. Tap on TuneIn, and you'll go to our 24/7 feed of all our programs, plus a real-time stream when our shows are live. For those of you who have a Roku device, click and you'll be taken to a page that will install our GabNet app, so you can enjoy our channel, which is rich with features that go well beyond our daily programs. Then, for archives of all our recent shows, press the Spotify, Pandora, or Stitcher tabs. Finally, Alex Bennett can be heard via the iHeart button. But if you're not at your computer, just download the app for any of these services and you'll find us there. Mobile. Of course, all GabNet shows are on iTunes. With all these options, you have no excuse not to listen to GabNet, unless you'd rather listen to one of those millions of other people who have podcasts. In which case you can blow me.
Intersection. Tonight at midnight Eastern on GabNet.
GabNet needs you. Yes, GabNet needs you to call our live programs and be a part of the citizen panels. It's the most innovative talk format yet, because it's not just one caller, it's a group of callers interacting with the host at the same time. Here's how you do it. It's simple. First, download Skype at skype.com. To install it, answer 4 simple questions: first name, last name, email address, and your choice of ID. Then launch Skype, go to Add Contacts, type in GabNet Live, and ask to be made a contact. Then you're ready to be on the citizen panel. If you're too lazy, well, you can always call on the phone at 347-352-0079. That's 347-352-0079. For all the information and a call button for Skype, log on to gabnet.net. At the bottom of the page, you'll find a video on how to call us and how to use GabNet. It couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more fun and exciting. We're new. We're different. But we need you to call. So for crying out loud, call, or we'll kill this dog. Don't worry, Fluffy. They won't let you die. I'm not kidding. Call or Fluffy gets it. Oopsie.
Hi, I'm the guy you know at the end of the commercials. You know, I'm always the one giving you the lines that the company really doesn't want you to hear. But here at GabNet, that's all changed. Here, I get to talk about all the cool stuff. How about that? So, let's get going before I get fired. GabNet is the home of the Citizen Panel. It's an original concept that allows for a panel of regular folks just like you to Skype in and join in on the discussions. Whether it's Alex Bennett's Ramble, The Intersection with Jack Bishop, The Exchange with Damian Chaplin, or The Arena hosted by the franchise MC, you get to be a major part of the programs on GabNet. To participate, just Skype us at GabNet Live. It's that simple. GabNet Live will immediately make you a panelist, and you're invited to stay for the entire program. Don't sit on the sidelines. Participate in the live citizen panels on all live programs here on GabNet.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Hey everybody, this is Alex. We're coming to you live from Harlem in New York City, and this is called The Ramble. May I start off this latest edition of Alex and Albert by saying, oh, my back's killing me. Oh, my arm is killing my face.
See,
I fell on
everybody.
my face and my nose right here. It's hurting. And what?
I said, see you, everybody. You get this.
We established on the last edition of this that Albert doesn't like to talk with. Are you going to keep it blank like that?
if you keep talking about health.
No, I'm just saying that why you're so reluctant to talk with me about it, because you don't want it. But anyway, last time, what we were doing last time got interesting. We got into capitalism, and I'll give you a good example of something that we were taught in school when I was in college. I can't remember what the class was, some class I had to take. And the teacher said, okay, I want you to read chapter 27 of the textbook, okay? And then tomorrow come in, we'll be discussing it. All right, fine. So I go home, and chapter 27 is entitled Communism versus Democracy. And I went, what? What is wrong with that statement, Albert?
The difference in economics versus politics.
Absolutely. And I went back.
They're not equatable.
I went back the next day, and she said, "Anybody have a comment about the chapter I had you read yesterday?" And I said, "Yes, I do."
Got yourself in trouble.
Yeah, and I said, "It's totally a false premise for a chapter." And she said, "Why?"
Right.
I said, "Because you can't equate communism with democracy." And she said, "Sit down. You're wrong." This is in college, okay?
Doesn't surprise me.
I remember it to this day, because there I saw how precious we are about our economy, and that communism was the enemy communism was the enemy of democracy. No, totalitarianism is, dictatorships are, so on and so forth, but not communism. Communism is simply an economic philosophy. And some of the people who have go by that economic philosophy are totalitarian, unfortunately. But it's not the same. And so I was always bothered by the fact that we are so in love with money in this country that everything is based on it. And the disparity between the haves and the have-nots in this society, I'm telling everybody out there, go out, earn $1 trillion, and or $1 billion.
There are no trillionaires yet.
Right. Go out and earn $1 billion, and you still won't be wealthy. Not like the other billionaires, okay?
I don't understand.
Well,
why?
I'm saying that, there's this myth that you can make all this money and your life is going to improve. And they always say that to you and I, work hard and save your money and you'll be just fine. Well, I wasn't just fine, and I worked my ass off for all of my life. I've been working since I was 14.
Where is the
and if it
evidence?
hadn't been for somebody dying and leaving me a lot of money, I wouldn't be what I consider financially secure.
Say this again. You're not financially secure?
No, I am now, but I wasn't before. I mean, I had money, and I probably could have lived on it for the rest of my life, but I had to watch it. I don't have to watch it anymore.
I don't understand what you're trying to say.
What I'm trying to say is this whole idea that if you work hard and all of that, there's this reward at the end of the rainbow that probably doesn't exist.
Well, who makes that silly statement to start with? That's a ridiculous statement. And is that supposed to be the fallacy of the American dream, which is nonsense also?
Well, the American dream is a total myth that we're fed to keep us working hard.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit.
I've been on this treadmill. Bullshit. I've been on this treadmill for the last, how old am I now? Let's say 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
I've been on this treadmill.
Yeah, by the way,
where did it get me? But in the case of radio, it's a satisfaction of ego.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go as far as to say you were working hard for the last 70 years. You had a very good job, which you loved, which was a not a difficult job.
No,
You,
it was a very difficult job. It just didn't require brute strength. I didn't have to lift anything.
I don't believe it was difficult either. I don't believe you had a difficult time doing it.
I had to learn this craft. I had to get. I think the first
And
10
that was
years.
difficult?
First 10 years I was doing it, I was terrible.
But that doesn't make it difficult. You were terrible,
No,
but you enjoyed
every
it.
day when I woke up, I lived with, how can I make this better? How can I make what I do better?
But that has nothing to do with work. That's what we do as people. We think about how can I make my
So
situation
you're saying
better.
I had it easy.
I think so, yes. I think so. Compared to a lot of people,
I
yeah.
only had. I'll tell you why I had it easy.
You never had to worry about where you're going to get your next meal. You never had to worry about where you're going to live. You never had to worry about how to take care of people you love. That's not difficult. There are people who do this, millions of people on a regular basis, and have to worry about things like that. And I'm not just talking about in this country. I'm talking about all over the world. So don't give me your cryberry baby stuff about it.
Wait
was
a
so
minute,
hard
every year, because of the nature of the landlords, I have to deal with a situation in which if I don't sign a renewal of my lease, I can get thrown out of here, and I can't sign the renewal of the lease because they are not giving me the correct amount of money to pay. The lease is for another number other than what they should be able to charge me. I have to deal with this every year. I don't know that I'm going to be here tomorrow. There isn't going to be a thing on my door saying you've been thrown out of your apartment. And I'd like to get my lawyer on it, but he won't answer my calls, so, you know.
Well, poor baby, you have to get your lawyer on something. There are people who can't do this. There are people who don't have the opportunity to say, well, they're going to kick me out. What happens if Alex Bennett gets kicked out? He finds another place to live. There are people who cannot afford to live anywhere.
But I think you're mixing something up.
I hope you're right.
Up that I had it made and I had it easy because I was doing something that I truly loved. Now, most people are not given that opportunity. Okay?
One thing has
Most
nothing.
people
Those are
go
two
to a
different
job
arguments.
they can't stand.
But those are two different arguments. You didn't have it made because you had a job that you loved. You had it made because you were always employed, because you always had enough money.
I wasn't always employed.
For the most part, you were. Everybody has lulls, but for the most part, you were. And when you weren't employed, you had the ability to pay your rent. You had the ability to pay for food. There are people that don't do that. That's not that you have not had it rough.
What I'm saying
I refuse to
that
hear
you are wrong in. It's been easy for me only in that I have done something all my life and never stopped doing it that I enjoy doing. In other words, I want to go to work and play. I want to go to work and have fun.
So does everyone.
But that doesn't mean that I don't have value to somebody else doing that. And that doesn't mean that I don't get paid for doing that, you know. But to do a job that you truly love is a blessing. And I guess I am blessed that way, yes.
Yes, you certainly are. You certainly are.
How about you? You had to produce a show with me. Was that fun?
Listen, I've had one of the best lives I can ever imagine. I've done just about everything I wanted to do, and there's no way I complain. I've not ever had to worry about where I'm going to live, how I'm going to live, how I'm going to eat. So I wouldn't complain about anything. There's nothing to complain about.
Look, have I had a good life? I've complained every moment of it along the way, but the truth of the matter is, yes, I've had a very good life.
Then stick with that.
I've been to some very interesting places. I've hung out with some interesting people, you know, in my time as a result of my job. You know, so I mean, you know, I look back at it. My life was an adventure. It was a great adventure.
It certainly was. It was a good adventure.
Yeah.
I think.
But I'm very lucky. Or did
I don't know how luck figures into that. You made choices that were the right choices to do what you wanted to do. And you were able to do that. Many people aren't able to do that, but there are a lot of people who are able to do those things. So
I made bad choices.
we all make bad choices.
You know,
All of us.
I mean, I remember once in San Francisco being out of work, got let go or something. I can't remember which one it was. And my clock radio went off in the morning. And there was a guy on called Gene Nelson. He was a morning man over at KSFO. And as I'm lying there with my eyes half open, I hear this guy doing a morning show. And I look at my radio and I say, how come he has a job but I don't? You know? And that always bothered me. Why some people are successful in our business who are mediocre. And me, who I think tried to do something a little different all the way along the line. You know, I always went against what people expected me to do. These guys are successful. There's still many of them still working in their markets, but I'm not. What's that all about?
Because you're old. That's what that's all about.
Well, no. Okay.
You know why that happened.
It's ageism that is making it so I can't work.
Right.
You know, they go, yeah, he's too old for this. Where was it? I went and I did a show.
But the technological difference has enabled you to be doing this again.
Yeah, but here, like
nobody who is anybody is doing radio now. It's not a thing anymore.
No, but forget about that.
Done.
Forget about that. Here's an example. When I was looking for work, and there was work to be had in this profession, okay, after we left Sirius XM, a friend of mine, Walter Sabo.
By the way, we didn't leave. We were asked to leave.
We were asked to leave. Yes, right. We didn't exactly go.
So, hey, we're leaving now.
I remember once they said to me, no, we're not firing you. We're just renewing your contract. I said, well, then do I get to come in tomorrow? And they said, no. Then I said, that feels like being fired. You know, I mean, firing is firing. You've been downsized.
Yeah,
Really?
well, they're not allowed to use words like that because then it could be held against them if you take them to unemployment court. Well, they didn't fire you; they downsized you. I said, no.
It downsized you. Anyway, but the point is that I just never. I think my biggest problem is I've never had a security that I was going to be someplace the next day. You know, and that was only because of the choices I made and how I presented my program. You know,
and who has that security? Even people who are members of labor unions don't necessarily have that security.
Is Jim Kerr still working?
Sure he is, yeah.
Why?
Absolutely. 50 years in New York.
Yeah, how old is he?
He's got to be 70 now.
Oh, older than that.
Probably older than that, yeah.
You know, I was working with him at the WPLJ. That's where he first worked. His first morning show there.
Well, he's working because he is in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That's the way it is. Some people don't have that. Some people do.
I never did.
Oh, yes, you did.
What do you
Sure
mean?
you did.
I fought every inch to keep employed.
But you weren't at the right place at the right time. See, you were at Sirius at the wrong time. That's the wrong place at the wrong time. And the wrong time because technology changed. That's why.
Well, that's true. But we weren't fired because they were adapting to new technologies.
Well, but that's certainly one thing to do with it. Yes, they were adapting to new technologies where they didn't need people who had been experienced in the broadcasting business to be broadcasting anymore. They could get anybody who's an expert on whatever topic they want and throw them on and have them for virtually nothing. Because then there's that ego that pops in again. People say, "Sure, I'll do that." Well, we don't have a lot to pay. That's okay. I'll still do it. It's radio or it's television or it's whatever it is now.
Well, the thing that happened at Sirius XM that I was amazed by, Joel Osteen started doing a show on Sirius XM. Now, of course, Joel Osteen is a whore, and he'll go anywhere to do a show, and any place he possibly can, and we understand that, okay? All right. Let's leave it there. Let's move on to the fact that we go, well, so how much is he paying them to put that show on where he hustles for his church, right? Mm-hmm. And the answer to that question was, no, ask the right question, how much are they paying him? And they're paying Joel Osteen, who knows how much money, to hawk his wares on Sirius XM.
And what's wrong with that?
But why are they paying him?
Because he has something to offer. He has a huge following.
Huh?
That's why they're paying him, because he has a huge following.
But then he gets those people to listen to him on Sirius XM, and he basically is doing an advertisement for his church for an hour or whatever.
Have you heard a lot of the talk stations there? Many of them are ads for some damn thing.
I remember when
but they're not hired for anything else but to bring bodies in. That's all. They need subscribers and they need people to listen a long time. That's all. That's the only reason. If they didn't have those people, they wouldn't be in business.
Well, the subscribership has gone down.
I'm sure it has.
It's continually going down.
Continue to erode.
Well, why do you need a satellite? If you in your car, if you're able to get the internet, which most cars now you're able to, you don't need Sirius XM. You've got the best of all worlds.
But the difference now is you don't need the Sirius XM satellite. All you need is the app. They were very smart in transitioning between the satellite, national coverage, and the technology that came around.
You'd be right if the fact were that was true. They got into the app and into the internet awfully late.
Yes, they did, but it doesn't matter because they have a huge stable of talent. They have a lot to offer, and they don't need the satellites down the road. But if they have the satellites now and they have the internet, people would transition. Certainly the younger people, they don't give a damn about the satellite. All they care about is I got an app for this. I'll put it on my Bluetooth and there it is in my car.
For a company, isn't it important for their stock price to be good?
I would assume most companies live like that.
Sirius XM stock has not changed a penny since we left.
So what?
In fact, it's less than when we were there.
All right. I don't know much about the.
If you got rid of your 401k, you got it in time. Or do you still have your Sirius XM?
I still have it.
You still have it?
Yeah.
That hasn't earned you a penny, probably. Probably lost you some.
It won't earn me a penny until I sell it. So I don't care. I still have the stock.
Yeah, well.
And maybe one day somebody else, maybe another massive company will come and gobble them up and the stock will go up.
I sold mine off, but I had to keep, I think, like a really small little part of it. Couldn't get rid of every inch of it.
Why?
I don't know. I think we maybe just got rid of it completely, and we put it into into Fidelity,
It does you no good. Get rid of it.
Well, it's sitting there. It's the lesser part of all the money that I have, It's like about $17,000 or something, But, well, here we are. We're talking about money.
Maybe. A little bit.
Wouldn't you rather talk about health?
Not a bit. A bit. Science. Let's talk about science. Let's talk about science.
What science?
I was looking up in the sky the other day.
Mm-hmm.
See a lot of stars, and I realized that all the stars, which aren't all stars, but all the stars that you can see in the sky have a scientific designation. Scientific name, either a Greek or Roman name for the earlier ones that were
And
discovered.
then there's some
or some
numericals.
kind of a numerical alphabetical designation. Every one of them has that now, right? And if they're not stars, but you're looking at a galaxy, they have a designation.
Yes, but probably we haven't caught all. We've only caught a smidgen.
No, but all the ones that we can see are being cataloged.
Have a name. Yes.
Okay, they have a scientific designation of some kind. Except for our sun and our moon, they do not have a scientific name. They're simply called the sun and the moon.
Our planet is Earth.
Yeah, that doesn't have a scientific name either.
Right.
Sun, moon, Earth, no scientific name. Why?
That is interesting. Yeah.
Are we so self-involved that we can't give our own sun and moon and planet a scientific designation within our scientific?
Why don't we call it? Why don't we call Earth Alex?
Well, see, that's a bit much, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't mind Earth, but why give the sun and the moon a name? You know.
Well, Luna.
That's just Latin for moon.
For moon, okay. Yeah, the moon doesn't have a name.
No, neither does the sun. Some people say Sol, but that's
and yet
Latin.
other
Sun.
moons on other planets do have names.
Yes, every one of the moons in our solar system has a name, and they say it's the moon of blah blah blah. It's called Enceladus. It's the moon of blah blah. Our moon has no name. Why don't we do something?
A quick little logic question. A quick
planet.
little logic question for you before we go. I saw this one the other day, and I got it right. It's the night that we go to daylight savings time. Saving time.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4:00 in New York. What time is it in California?
If we go to daylight saving, then we have to fall back, spring forward. It's 4:00 in New York.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1:00 in California. Well, wait a minute. Be more specific about the question. Have we just changed to daylight saving time?
Yeah, it's the night the daylight saving time takes place.
And I live in New York.
And I live in New York, and now it's 4:00. I look at my watch; it's 4:00. What time is it in California?
So that would mean that it's really 3:00 midnight.
Correct.
Right.
But that's interesting. It's one time of the year where actually we're 4 hours ahead instead of 3 hours ahead.
Yeah, but this is a whole other discussion. This is about this. I can talk to you forever about the arbitrariness
of daylight saving
nature.
time?
No, of time itself. Time does not exist. Time is a reference for humans to know what's going on, in addition to the three dimensions of space.
Okay.
But time really doesn't exist. It's created by humans as a reference point to go along.
We need a reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how you completely lose track of time? Get to be my age without a job. Somehow you wake up and you say, "What day is this? What time is it?" I got to look at the watch. It doesn't matter. Oh, is it already 3:00?
Here anyway. Most places.
Time really matters because I say to you, "Hey, let's have lunch." When? 3:00. Okay.
Yeah, it's simply a reference.
Yeah.
When
hey,
and where
listen,
space exists.
We've run out of time. I love talking to you. You know
What
that.
else?
I really enjoy this. I look forward to it.
Well, good. Let's have that occasion without talking about health problems. Don't want to do that.
Well, unless I've got a real health problem, I won't talk to you about it.
Well, if you have a real health problem, you're probably not going to be around. That's a real health problem.
Oh, okay.
I don't have any more health. I'm out of health.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's Albert Reynoso. Say goodbye, Albert.
Bye-bye.
Now in its 10th year, this is GabNet. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Ah, yes. Good old Albert. I like Albert. Albert's, I think he's my best friend now. I think so, because he's the only one that's still left alive. Hi, everybody. I'm Alex. Oh, boy. Well, how do I feel today? I feel okay, actually. I was and went out with Marjorie. Went to get we've had these cell phones for 3 years, and so now the battery is finally starting to go on each of them. And we decided it was time to get our new phone. So we went down to get our new phone, and then we decided we were going to get a what do you call it? A joint account. Okay. We found out we saved money doing that. And then we saved money because we were both AARP. And then we saved money on something else. Before we were through, we found out our new phones are going to cost us $10 a piece. Okay. But anyway, so we went out, and Marjorie was saying, "You're walking pretty good today." And I said, "Yeah, it seems to be a little easier than it was." So, yeah, I'm feeling okay today. Anyway, I'm saying that we should probably bring in the citizen panel. Let's see who they are here. First of all, let me bring them in here. Let me see. Where are we? I gotta. How do I do? Oh, okay. I keep forgetting how to do stuff now. Excuse me, folks. I'm an old fart. All right. There's let's see here. Charlie Wallace and oh hey Josh. What do you know? Ah, yeah. There you are tonight. So you here tonight? What about tomorrow night?
Can't. Don't think I can do tomorrow or Saturday.
Uh-huh. And Saturday. Yeah. Okay.
Well,
And then I got
tonight.
another week before I have to go, wherever I'm going to go. Paris.
Yeah.
This is a little town outside of New York called Paris. And
Paris, Texas, too.
what'd you say?
There's a Paris, Texas, too.
There is a Paris, Texas. You're quite right. I know that because I used to live in Texas,
Yeah.
So, whatever. Let me put on my earphones. It's easier for me to hear you guys and off the speaker on the side. So, let me do this. Let me bring the audio down a little bit here, and there we go. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, because I got 2 weeks from today we leave for Paris, and then we get back 5 days later. Hello to our newer minted friend Richard Braun. Hello, Richard. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, and Jeff, how are you doing? Jeff, you don't have your audio on. What are you using? Are you using an iPad or are you using a
Control F4.
Yeah. Oh. He's
Bingo.
He's looking.
There you
I'm
go.
there.
There you are. Let's all give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, geez. I'm sorry, Cap.
Anyway, so where was I? Hey, listen. This always happens. Last night, I come in around 1 o'clock because I go to see if I need to do anything because Amy Manuel and the intersection would be going off, and I'd have to turn stuff on and so on and so forth, and to post programs and so on. And all of a sudden, it's not there. And I suddenly realized that she hadn't done a show last night. But she failed to tell me. She said, well, I told everybody else.
We all knew.
What?
We all knew.
Well, that's fine. That's
She got
fine.
early voting, and she can't get up at 5 o'clock in the morning after doing that
Yeah,
show.
but why doesn't she tell me that?
Well, she told all of us.
Well, you aren't the ones that have to know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So she's not going to be on for the next 2 weeks. Want to do a show, Josh?
Maybe.
And
I have a couple nights off next week, and then I'm going to be off for a while after that. I have the whole week of the election off, so maybe.
Yeah, in the week of the election, I'm not going to be on. I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on. I'm going to do a show on. I think on Tuesday, and I will also probably do a show on Wednesday. Thursday we leave town, so you know,
We'll see.
whatever.
I'll be there when you get back.
Hmm.
So I hope the country's here when you get back.
Well, you know, my theory of what I plan to do is if Trump wins, I'm not coming back.
Yeah, but if he loses, they might burn down the country.
Well, in which case I won't be here to be part of the conflagration. You know. Yeah, because I mean, how's it looking? I saw something today that said she's doing fine. You know.
I hear that the undecideds are breaking 60 to 36 for her. So that's a good, and the trend seems to be, incrementally for her.
Yeah, because I saw something tonight on NBC or something where they said she was losing, according to the Wall Street Journal. But who owns the Wall Street Journal? Rupert Murdoch.
Conservative polls that are coming out saying that, and they're all flooding the market now. So I'm not sure how indicative they really are.
What polls?
Conservative polls.
Oh, conservative polls. Yeah. Oh, you can. I don't. You can screw these things any way you want to do them. You know. I never pay attention to any conservative poll. I never pay attention to any right-wing poll, left-wing poll. I want something that I can rely on, and usually the New York Times has been pretty good that way. The New York Times, what's the other part of the name of that poll? Seem to have it better, but, I don't know. The fact that it's even this close is depressing. It just makes me have no faith in this country whatsoever. And that really bothers me. It just bothers me that Americans are so screwed up that it can be this close.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that because they're right-wingers that's why I'm saying that. I'm saying that because the person that they're putting their belief in is a person so bereft of any kind of morality, of any kind of decency. And now with the latest stuff that's come out where they, he actually said that Hitler did good things.
Yep.
I mean, come on. I mean, knowing just that is enough to make you not vote for him. I'm not saying you have to go out and vote for Kamala. Just don't vote for him. You can just not even fill that part of the ballot out and go and take care of the rest of your slate, But, geez, I mean, how you can even in your wildest imaginations think you can vote for this guy. I'm very disappointed in America for that. And even if Kamala wins, and I feel great about that and all of that, still means that something like 49% of this country thought Donald Trump was a good idea. And so where does that put Americans morally as people? Are we decent? No, not even close. So, I mean, it bothers me. What's the problem that they're having over there with Jeff?
He's got the mute on now.
His mute is on? Yeah, you've got yourself muted, Jeff. Well, I can't.
He hasn't unmuted before.
Huh?
No, we know that. It's just so dark. You can hardly see you. I'm working on that.
There you go.
Oh, you're working on the picture.
Yes, sir.
Here, let's see if I can brighten it up from this end. Oh, no, that was the wrong thing. I pressed the wrong switch. Excuse me.
All right. Give me a few. I'm just going to mute us again. So
Yeah. Okay. That's by the way, that's Pam, and Pam is Jeff's personal
Tech support.
Tech support.
Tech
Yeah.
support, which is sad because
Yeah.
that's the blind leading the blind, but that's okay.
No, you
We'll
do
figure it
okay.
out.
You do okay with it.
We try.
Yeah. Anyway, so do you see anything, Josh, that gives you any indication of who's going to win this thing?
I don't think we have any idea of that. I mean, polling's all pretty close, you know. I don't really know how, if it's close, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know who they get for these polls. Like, I mean, I'm sure they break it down, but I just have never seen like how it breaks down, like demographically, age, you know, gender. I mean, you know, like
The question is, and you ask people this question, how many people here have been called by a polling organization? Anybody? Not me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, people don't really answer their phone now. So who are the people that do answer their phone, or who are the people that will answer these things? Do they have a propensity to be older, conservative, Trump people, you know, white? You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't have really. And does some of that explain some of the polling errors the last decade, you know? I mean, I don't know. People look at it that do that stuff for a living, so I don't really have any insight into it. But I mean, by all accounts, no matter what, you go look at a poll over here that has her up nationally by 4 or 5 points, and you can go look at a poll over there that has her down 2. I mean, you know, I mean, it's just like, it's like I've joked with you before about people who quote the founders or whatever. A founder said this, and it's like, okay, give me 90 seconds and I'll come back with, you know, another guy was in the room at the same time that said the exact opposite. I mean, just because you can quote a founder, I mean, we can do. I mean, you know, I mean, they were just as diverse as we were in their opinions. So I mean, the fact that you found one that agreed with you doesn't prove anything. Here's one that didn't. You know, so it's the same thing. Like, this poll says winning, this poll says losing. So what's the average of that? Tie?
Yeah, Richard, you had your hand up.
Yeah, you know, the best scenario, it's a slim chance that the Democrats hold the Senate, and it's a better chance that they flip the House. With that and Kamala, things could get done. If Trump wins, he's now indemnified for any action he takes as president by the Supreme Court's decision. So he could say, well, hey, Qatar, you know, you want this? Put my name on this, you know, give me millions for a hotel idea. So he's gonna, I mean, look at his son-in-law's got $20 million from a year
from the Saudis
management fee for investing their sovereign money, and he has no experience investing money.
Yeah.
As an investor, as a real estater, is another story. He does a lousy job there. So it's very scary what he could do for his own benefit or against his enemies. That's you know. So all of us now on the internet saying these things, you know.
We don't know. We really don't know.
I mean, you don't know where they're going to start.
I don't know. I mean, I will say, you know, that we went to town tonight and picked some food up, and you know, again, my wife and I were talking on the way back that, I mean, even in the area that I live, I have never ever seen as many signs for the Democratic presidential candidate ever in this area. Because I told you before, I live in the most Trump county in the nation. I mean, he won this county like 92-8, and he won my precinct like 98-2. You know, I mean, so I mean, but in the development on the back roads to town, in town, there were even more than there were, you know, than a few days ago. As people now, I mean, I have no idea what that means.
Okay, how many Trump signs are there?
Well, there's shit tons more. But I mean, you know, still, because they've been up since the last election, really.
Yeah, probably.
You know, but I've never seen as many for the Now, are those all the same people that were voting for Democrats before? And this time around, they're just, you know, so hateful of Trump that they just can't take it anymore, and they put a sign out finally, and they never used to put signs out. I don't. Maybe.
Yeah.
Just saying it. And the other thing that I found interesting was that a decent portion of them have sort of mimicked the Trump people's deal with not just the yard sign that says Harris Walls. They have created gigantic signs, banners, flags. There's 12 signs in the yard, not one. I saw Harris Wall signs at 3 different houses in town today that were as big as a car. I
saw a pickup truck with a Harris Walls sign on I-35 in Austin.
And like right there in town, there's this house that Bernie Moreno, the U.S. Senate candidate, has come to for a fundraiser twice. And the people that live next door obviously are not Moreno people because right next to this house where he's come twice, they made sure they erected a sign and stapled it to a 4x8 sheet of plywood for Sherrod Brown and Kamala Harris, Harris Walls.
By the way, Don Giller, who hates all this politicking, because I agree with him. I'm going to be glad when this is all over. Has said here. Wait a minute. Let me see if I can find it. What happened? Oh, there it is. Marist, which is one of the best polls, right, came out tonight with a positive number for Harris. Marist is a top poller. That's good news. That's good news.
If there's some like shockwave election night and she wins Ohio or something, I'm just saying that I'll believe it because I've never seen the support. There was always like 2 or 3 people in town that had, and you could tell why, because they were like teachers, they're in a teachers union, so they would always have
along with their Harris sign on the back of their bumper of their car, they should have had a sign that said "Key me."
Yeah. Yeah. But now, there's just lots of them. I don't know where it came from. There's a house in town that, like I said, that's got a fence, and the whole fence is lined with flags for Harris.
Really?
It's crazy.
Now let me ask you a question though. Is there any real value in signage?
Probably not.
Do you think it changes anything in your neighborhood?
Oh, I seriously doubt it.
Yeah. But it's interesting that people are doing that because apparently with the kind of numbers that your neighbors had with the being on the other side, people probably pretty meek to come out and let people know they were for Kamala.
Yeah,
so the fact that they're doing it is amazing.
I've always put one out. I have a Harris Walls yard sign that I got. I haven't put it out. I didn't know if I was going to. I am going to put it out. I just haven't gotten around to it. I keep forgetting, and then where my wife parks, she blocks it, so I'd have to move her car to get to it and all that. But I was like, yeah, I'm going to put mine out. But there are 4 or 5 in the development now, and I used to only see the one. There's a guy that lives over there that's a teacher, and he would always have that stuff out, and then his neighbor would always have one out because that is 2 teachers, lesbians who are married. And they always had a sign out, but that was the only people in the entire development other than me that would have. And I always had one out for Sherrod Brown, or, I had one out for Biden. I had one out for Obama both times, that we lived here. So I'll put it out. But there's just a lot more than I've ever seen, especially when you go to the next town over, which is really, it's the county seat. It's a little bigger. But I've never seen as many. Trump still wins that area.
Why the really big signs, though? That's the other part I don't get.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
You save those for rallies, and things like that. But
that's what I'm saying is I don't know because...
Well, my Trump sign is bigger than your Trump sign?
Well, but the Harris signs that are out, there's a couple houses in town that, they literally have like 20 yard signs in their yard.
What's funny? I wonder who's producing those because I don't think those are being produced by, Harris Walls people. I have a funny feeling they're being made professionally and sold at a good, decent price.
A lot of the ones that I saw were homemade, and you could tell.
Oh, really?
I've seen a lot of the official campaign ones because I got mine from the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And it came in an envelope from a printer in Texas with a little note that said it came from a union.
I was going to
shop.
say Mark sex books.
You know.
Yeah.
So, I saw, that, but, and then the local Democratic Party had a bunch made and they sold them. And they look a little different than the official campaign ones, but they were allowed. They had an agreement to have some printed locally and sell them to make money for the local Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of them came from there. You can tell, and then I think the Sherrod Brown campaign was helping get them out there.
According to Tony here, he says on the chat, which I hardly ever look at, he says on the chat that Trump is doing Joe Rogan tomorrow.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll probably vote for it now.
Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, yes, what were you going to say, Mr. Braun? Huh?
No, just popping.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
La-di-da.
Yeah. What, Jeff?
I have a question. I understand that she had a big presentation on TV yesterday. I never got to hear it. Did you guys hear it?
Which presentation?
She had a town hall on CNN last night.
Yeah.
I thought she was on TV.
Yeah, she was.
No, that's CNN.
How
They had
was
a town hall? Yeah. I guess Trump was invited and didn't come. So they just did one with Harris.
Okay.
Right. He had opted out. I'm not doing a second one. I'm not.
No.
She's the loser, and I'm not giving her a second chance. So he went to Georgia for.
No, but this was the town hall. I don't
Right.
think they would have put them on the same town hall together. I think that what he turned down was a town hall with CNN.
I thought
they turned it into a town hall.
Yeah. I thought they were going to have both of them
that was
together or
when
whatever
that
if
was
he
when the debates was supposed to be.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
But I don't know where it was. Was it in Georgia? I think it was.
It may have been.
My understanding was the audience
was
was
in
made
Georgia.
up of declared undecided voters. And that is who they allowed to ask the questions. And then after the debate, the thing last night, CNN recorded a thing with them that they played this morning where they asked the undecided people that were allowed to ask questions who they would vote for if they had made up their mind last night and if she had persuaded any of them. And a lot of the people said that they would vote for Harris.
Okay.
Which in Georgia is a huge deal. And a couple of them that said they were voting for Harris said they voted for Trump last time.
Oh, really?
In 2020.
Why
I don't know.
There's every indication that leads us not to worry. But this is just, the whole thing's been very scary. And I think primarily because all these networks are ginning it up.
Yeah.
Oh, she hasn't, it's very tight. It's neck and neck. We don't know who's going to win. That's what's good for MSNBC. That's what's good for CNN, is to create this angst. And I know people that are genuinely, on edge because of this thing.
But early voting is way up. I mean, Texas, we're setting records for early voting.
How does that? What does that indicate, though?
That indicates that the more Democrats are coming out to vote.
Well, I'm sure they're coming out to vote. But do you have more Democrats in Texas than you do Republicans?
Yeah, it's just they don't vote. We barely get 50% in our largest voter turnout in Texas.
Wow.
So if we get 60%, that extra 10% is going to be all Democrats. Yes, there are more. I think we're getting pretty close to Hispanics being the majority in Texas.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what Texas did do in the last couple of days. They were supposed to execute a guy for shaken baby syndrome.
Yep.
And everybody, I mean, almost everybody, politicians, everybody said, this is wrong. You shouldn't execute him for that. And his question as to whether he even shook the baby, and this was 20 years ago. But in Texas, if you're sentenced to death, your chances of getting out of that is very difficult. Very difficult.
We usually kill more people by capital punishment than all the other states put together.
Yeah. Well, part of the problem was with Texas and the death penalty, because I lived there and I knew I paid attention to what was going on that way, is that they gave the governor almost no ability at commuting a sentence. It has to be commuted by the parole board, who takes it up, and then they never, ever turn it around. Never, you know. And the reason the governor can't is because there was years ago there was a governor in Texas. It was a female with a male name, or maybe she had a female name. I'm trying to remember now what the name was. But she was so corrupt that she would let people murder people, and then if they were friends of hers, she'd commute their sentence. And people were really mad about that. And they made a law that the governor can do very little to commute a sentence like that, a death sentence. So it's very difficult. So the fact that this has been at least stopped, put on hold, so they can look at it again and give it a second look. And then today, it looks like tomorrow, the Menendez brothers will be free. So, little judicial stuff I thought I'd throw in there at the last minute here.
The ability to commute a sentence goes back to kings, who could do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I could see that, but the power to be abused is amazing. I think Clinton kind of upset me with his leave and the pardons he did at the end, and you can do things for friends that might benefit you later. But if the president only had the power to say, send it back to court for a look, put it away from him.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say, okay, let the top guy, the governor or the president, commute a sentence, or not commute, but
Mm-hmm.
refer it to the judicial process and let them take care of it. So it's not political.
Let me look up here. I want to look up.
I think it was a judge that stopped the execution here in Texas.
Judge?
I think it was a judge that just stayed it. Or whatever.
This one, yeah.
Yes.
But he put it up for review. What it was is they wanted him to appear before a committee or a council or whatever on Monday, but he couldn't if they executed him on Friday. So that's why it was turned around. Let me see here.
How long he had to sit on hold to explain that,
Yeah.
Well, I can't be there Monday. I'll be dead.
If something's an injustice, then send it back to the Justice Department, the judicial area, and let them see if they need to change their ways or request a change in the law so it's clear or whatever.
Really trying to find that. I'm putting in corrupt Texas governor. Let's see what the name is. Greg Abbott comes up.
You don't have to go very far for that.
Oh, Ma Ferguson.
Ma Ferguson, yeah.
Yeah, Ma Ferguson was the.
That was a long time ago.
I know, but it goes back that far
Yeah.
that the governor of Texas has been given very little leeway in commuting a sentence of this sort. So, somebody wrote here, Trump loses, he will take it to court, and then the House of Representatives. No, he can't take it to the House of Representatives, can he, Josh?
Well, I mean, there are some ways like they tried to do last time with how they count the votes or how they pledge their electoral votes and all that. I mean, if no one gets to 270, it throws itself to the House constitutionally, but I don't imagine that. I mean, I think somebody will get to 270. I don't. There's just enough states that are guaranteed to either side. That I think that someone will get to 270. I don't imagine that they won't.
Yeah. Here comes Tony.
If the Republicans tie up some state, let's say Tennessee, and they can't even certify anything because it's in the court, then those electoral votes wouldn't count. They wouldn't
Yeah,
be
if they
there.
don't pledge them at the college, I
And
believe.
it wouldn't be 270. 270 wouldn't be the breaking point. It would be the majority of whoever put in their vote. But that's-
Yeah, but
that's
that's
a weird-
only, that would have to be states that one of them won that was they were not expected to. You know, like Tennessee will go to Trump, they will pledge their votes. You know, so if
Yeah.
you know, Massachusetts will go to Harris, they will pledge their votes. California will go to her. They're
What's
not
that
gonna play
Pennsylvania?
around.
They'll
Yeah, it would have to be somewhere that Republicans control a lot of at the state level, but she would win. So a place like Georgia, for example, basically. I can't imagine it would happen in Pennsylvania because they have a lot of Democratic lawmakers, as far as I understand, in their state government that I know of. I think their legislature is Republican, but it's some of their, like their governor is a Democrat. They have a lot of their cabinet level stuff's a Democrat. So it had to be like, you know, there's probably very few instances where I think that could come to play. I mean, Georgia's one of the ones that I think of, but they've tried to do a lot of crap and it's been overturned in the courts there in the last couple weeks. So, you know, I mean, no one can say for certain something will or won't happen. I mean, you know, I know as much as nobody. I really don't.
Good answer.
You know, I mean, I'm serious. I mean, you know, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you know,
Well, I think there are a couple of states where we could possibly see a strange turnaround. I think one that could surprise us is Texas. Maine, and you would agree with me on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're in Texas, obviously.
That's why I say all those record voter
Well,
turnout.
what I'm saying is you've got, see here, there are two things. Do you have abortion on the no, it's not. Okay. What you do is if you've got some other thing besides, say, the presidential that people turn out for, and in this case, very heated race between Ted Cruz and who's the other person?
Colin Allred.
Colin Allred, and how is Colin Allred holding up in the polls?
It's still neck and neck, but it's starting to look like he's going to unseat Cruz.
Well, if that happens, then I think there's a good chance that that Harris may win in Texas. You know, because people who only logical people that would want to unseat Cruz would also be the people that would vote for Harris. So I think they're kind of linked to each other.
But there's still people here mad at Cruz for going to Cancun during that ice storm. That
I'm still mad at him for that, and I don't even live there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it gets to a point where some of these people are so vociferous that after a while, their voting populace gets tired of them. You know, they just want to get rid of them to shut them up. They don't want them to do another stupid thing, right? And I mean, how bad can you be as a politician that a guy comes along and accuses your father of killing Robert Kennedy?
I don't find that funny. It's crazy.
Yeah, and 8 years later, you're kissing his ass. What? What is that? You know, does that make any kind of sense?
No. I mean, that just shows you they have no spine, really, at all.
Yeah. Well, we know that about Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are politicians who just play the field. You know, they play the game. And there are other people who are politicians who are there because they want to do good stuff. You know, and in the case of Ted Cruz, all he wants to do is get reelected over and over and over again. Yes.
Do you think he doesn't want to be Secretary of State or Defense? Like,
I don't know. Isn't it better being a senator?
No, he's not well liked in the chamber, and if he doesn't have a majority,
they say he's the most hated person in the
ass.
Senate. He's the most singularly disliked person in the Senate. Yeah. I think I heard Al Franken in a interview he was doing. They said, "Who's the most disliked senator in Senate?" And he said, "Ted Cruz, no question." Ted, you know. But then again, he listed what's his name, Graham.
Lindsey Graham?
Lindsey Graham as being the funniest person in the Senate. And I saw an interview with Lindsey Graham that I think it was Al Franken did with him. And he was hilarious. He was hilarious. So at least he has a sense of humor. You can't fault him for that. You know?
A lot of gay men are funny. You know?
Just being gay is funny. You know.
Saying, you know, I mean, he probably has a great.
Then I know what gay people are saying, Alex. You're being homophobic. No, I'm not. There is something inherently funny about queens. Okay. And I think most other gays would agree with me on that. You know. And I grew up gay, so.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see here in Ohio. I mean, you know, they have Sherrod Brown on the ballot, who's winning against Moreno, and you know, there's a ballot initiative in Ohio again this time, a major one, the biggest one in years after a decade of arguing back and forth since the last redistricting. There's finally a ballot initiative in this state to take it away from the legislature and give it to a group of citizens appointed by a bipartisan panel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is going to pass. So if people turn out big for those two things, they're probably going to. I mean, if you're for Sherrod Brown and you're for that issue 1, probably going to vote for Harris.
Yeah,
I think. You know, but not necessarily. So how many of those? I mean,
I think we might be surprised.
Up in Ohio, so.
We might be surprised the states that Harris takes.
I mean, if she won Ohio on election night, the election is over. You can. I mean,
the question is what.
Fucking celebrating.
I've often heard this term used. It depends on what kind of ground game they've got.
Yeah, because you know the number of electoral votes in this populous state have been calculated in for him in every projection period.
Yeah.
And if you take those away and give them to Harris, it doesn't matter. I mean, it'll be over. I mean, he could win Pennsylvania and it wouldn't do anything but be a wash. I mean, it would just, I mean, she wins Ohio. If she wins Ohio, she'll win Pennsylvania.
Did Obama win Ohio when he ran?
Both times, I believe. Yeah. And then Trump. Yeah.
So what did Obama do?
Well, that's always
what did he do to get the people in Ohio on his side, where then when Hillary ran, she couldn't get them on her side?
Well, one thing that he did was he was a man.
Yeah. Made a difference.
You know, and I mean, I hate to say that, but I think that had a lot to do with it. I think it still has a lot to do with it. You know, I mean, how does this state end up with Democratic senators a lot? You know, up until just recently, they had 2 Democratic senators at all times for decades.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the state has had a Democratic governor in the last few decades several times. You know, so I mean, there was a time
it's not a, as we could call it, a stalwart Republican area.
Yeah, I mean it's considered that now because of where it's moved in the last 5-6 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's considered the new Texas, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I don't. But like I said, but I see some evidence on the ground that people aren't ready to accept that. So maybe that'll be the case.
I see that she might be able to take Arizona.
Maybe.
Yep.
Good chance of that. New Mexico, which the last time I think went for Trump.
I thought she.
No,
would.
it went for.
No, but I mean when he ran for the first time.
In 2016.
I think New Mexico went for Trump. Yeah. But they say she's going to take New Mexico. Nevada is another one that's up for grabs. And I think they've got a good ground game going, and I think that Trump has taken this election too much for granted in the beginning, and then when she came along, he froze. He literally froze and started doing things which made no sense at all. Yes, Mr. Braun.
Oh, one thing is North Carolina has an interesting situation since the Republican governor has all this bad history of porn and whatever. So they're disincentivized to vote to go out. The Republicans are disincentivized to go out, and maybe they won't go out for Trump. Look at Trump and look at him. So
Yeah.
Kamala could slip in there.
It's also, Kamala does have another thing going, that there's a passion on the part of her people to get out the vote. Not the same kind of passion that Trump has. I don't think the Trump people have that kind of passion. If it rains, they won't go out.
I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I think they're pretty solid, but
Alan?
Trump's stunt at McDonald's, which was obviously a MAGA thing, has had repercussions. Throughout California, students from colleges are boycotting McDonald's, as walking around saying McDonald's, is...
The only thing is that you can't blame those McDonald's because these were privately franchised McDonald's.
I
First of all.
understand that, but,
Secondly, they got
these
paid
kids-
for the use of the place for the day.
Right, these kids are voting age, probably never voted in a presidential election before,
Mm-hmm.
and they are out there running around with picket signs saying, "Don't eat at McDonald's." They support Trump, and this is in California.
Well, there's another reason not to eat at McDonald's: the onions.
E. coli. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see the contract from headquarters, whether they say you can use your property for a political purpose.
Yeah, well, they've
Because
been saying
they made
it.
trouble for the corporate this time. It'll be
Right.
Well, I'm sure that franchise is hearing from McDonald's.
I'm sure.
I'm sure they did. I mean, I'm sure they weren't happy with that.
Nope.
I also know I'm never buying a Tesla. So there's another person that's been hurt a lot.
I've already bought my Tesla, so I'm pretty happy with it.
I'm sure you're
I know
happy
you
with
care
it,
about that
but
last name.
but if you were to buy it today, if you were going to buy a car today, would you buy a Tesla?
I know I'm making Trump, Elon more wealthy, but it's a good car.
Yeah, I know it's a
Probably-
good
I
car.
try to
That's
do
not
the
what
right
I'm
thing,
arguing. But you
environmentally.
know something? There are a lot of other people making good cars that are electric. Okay,
Like who?
huh?
wait a
There's one car. I can't remember which one it is. It's an SUV or something like that. Gets 450 miles to the charge. And yeah. So there are other people
I drive
making
4 or 5
electric
hours,
cars
and
now.
then I have to. I take a 20-minute break to gas to electric up. It's not bad for driving 4 hours. Take a 20-minute break.
It takes you only 20 minutes to charge it up?
If I go from 100 down to 20, if I leave home with 100 and I'm traveling to New York from Virginia, maybe I'm, by New Jersey, I'm at 20, or Maryland, I'm at 20. So it says go gas up.
Or
And
go
then-
charge
and then-
up.
And then I'm finished. Yeah, so it's not really a bother.
How fast you can't get 100% charge in a half hour?
Don't do it because it stresses the battery. They want you to go to 80 all the time. On a regular basis. But if you're taking a long trip, they say, yeah, go to 100.
100%.
It takes the last bits take longer than it's faster to charge from 20 to 80.
So it
I see.
cycles down to trickle charge.
Yeah. And you don't want to waste time. I could spend another 30 minutes and go.
So the last 20 is a trickle charge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can live without that.
And you can, yeah, all the time.
Now, when you come to New York, okay, and you've got an electric car, where you don't live in New York, do you?
No, I'm visiting family, and when I'm on Staten Island, there's only one. So that's too few, and they're trying to open one, a set at Stop and Shop, but it's been just sitting there. all the unused for like a year. So, but over in Jersey, there's lots of, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but what about like if you stay? Let's say you stop and you stay at a hotel. Do most hotels have an electric charger?
Some of them do. They call destination chargers, but they're within reason. There'll be another, and they'll find it for you.
Then what happens if you go somewhere and there are like 3 chargers, okay? And everybody's using one, and there's a lineup for the charger.
Well, there's actually they incentivize people not to, linger beyond with the thing attached. They'll charge them for lingering.
Yeah, but I mean, still, it's kind of a difficult thing to
There's
deal
usually
with.
6, 8, a dozen, because
Yeah.
that's like.
There are chargers all over the Bay Area.
Well, that's fine, but I'm saying that you
and
can
they-
still
and they'll
have a
tell
bunch
you.
of people backed up at the chargers.
They actually tell you there's 8 out of 9 being used and 1 guy on the way. Or maybe that's you.
Wow, really?
And so you know that, yeah, but they're going to roll off in 20 minutes. So by the time you get there,
Well, where I live very close to the Fremont Tesla plant, so we see them all over the San Francisco Bay Area. Teslas all over the place. So
Yeah, but you see Teslas all over the place. That's even more Teslas to charge up. So,
have
you
ever
know,
rode in one? The acceleration's incredible. They're quiet. They're a well-built car.
no, they may be a well-built car. I'm the first one to tell you that if it weren't for Elon Musk and I were buying a car right now, the car I would buy would be a Tesla. But I couldn't bring myself to buy a Tesla in this environment with what he's done. I don't care what his politics are. It's just what he's doing, okay? And I can't support that. I can't put a penny in his pocket.
well, you know.
No, but
he's
you
got
already
SpaceX.
have, and you did it before any of this, you know.
Well, I know he was a schmuck, so I got out of Twitter almost as soon as he took that over, because that was madness what he did to them as a corporation. The way he treated those employees.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
That's here in San Francisco. I think the reason he's backing Trump is Trump said, if I'm president, all these federal agencies that are going after Twitter and after Tesla and SpaceX, I will stop all that from happening.
Well, who's
So
going
right
after
now,
SpaceX?
I don't know. He's just got, there are federal.
Here's how I
agencies
feel.
going after
I
this, they're going
absolutely
after that.
love SpaceX. I love everything they do, and I realize that Elon Musk is not a genius. He simply is the money behind it. The geniuses are the ones who are building those goddamn rockets, okay? And I really am a supporter of SpaceX. I just wish he would sell the business and get out of it and just let other people run it and own it, you know? Because I think they, on their own, and it's pretty much they've done it on their own. Do you think he's there every day?
He's too busy rallying with Trump and talking.
He's too busy at Twitter, trying to
And he's
ruin
talking to
that
Putin,
company.
Alex, he said.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's talking to
really,
Putin.
He really messed up Twitter.
Who's talking to Putin?
Musk said it. He's on. He talks to him weekly.
He talked?
Well, because
Yeah.
No, are you
Musk
sure you're
breaking,
not thinking about Trump?
No, it's Musk. It's breaking. If you Google it, New York Times, they broke the story. He's already said it. He has conversations with him all the time. This is all making a lot of
See,
sense.
this is a guy who is ultimately very dangerous, and he's very dangerous for the following reasons. He has created a series of satellites called Skylink, which just pretty much is up there, just circling the Earth, and it's the biggest. What can we call it? Satellite communication system that's up there. He has that, and he also has SpaceX, and between all of those, he controls a lot of technical power in this country, And okay, so he's following Trump. Do you think the United States is going to stop giving SpaceX money? They need SpaceX now.
No, NASA doesn't exist anymore, really.
No, NASA does exist. They simply are using SpaceX's rockets.
Right.
Yeah.
To do their work. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, but what
And
wouldn't
their
you?
childhood
I mean,
message.
what's the best company to get with? These are the guys who are going to bring back the people that Boeing couldn't. You know?
Yeah, Boeing's got some serious problems.
Yeah, they're.
I'm sure I'd want to get on one of their planes right now.
Well, I don't know what plane I'm going on, but you know.
A Boeing 737 Max, I'm sure.
Well, I'll see you all. Nice knowing you. You know.
Knowing you.
Yeah, don't stand up front.
Hmm?
Don't be up front, be in the back.
Be in the back. Why? So you're the last
The
one to
front
crash?
That breaks.
Yeah. Well, you know, by being in the front, you get to wherever you're going first before the
That's
people in the
true.
back.
But you may be
I
going
often
with a-
wondered, and nobody here is scientific tonight. Is very well. You are.
What did you want to know?
Charlie, you are. I often wondered, let's say you're in an elevator, and let's say somehow the cable breaks, although I know that they have safety procedures on them. But let's just say the cable breaks, and the elevator starts plummeting to the ground. Just before you hit the ground, if you jump up, will that save your life?
No.
Why?
Because
I mean, I
you
sound
cannot
stupid
jump.
here, and I want to sound stupid because I think it's an interesting
You
question.
cannot jump high enough to defeat the law of gravity after you've dropped like 60 or 70 floors.
Well, okay, all right.
You just
That's
don't
right.
have
If you
enough
were
power in your legs.
if you were able to jump right when the elevator hit, your body has still got the same
Inertia.
inertia, thank you, as that elevator, and you're going to hit the floor of the elevator and break all your bones.
Well, damn it, I was gonna, save my life if I ever had that problem. But they don't do that, by the way. That's what's his name invented with the elevators.
Jeff ordered a safety margin.
Yes.
I have a friend who fell at, I think he said the third floor when it went down, the cable broke, whatever it was. He went all the way to the bottom, which 3 floors, whatever that was. He really got hurt. And he couldn't walk for a
I'm
long
surprised because elevators, ever since, who was it? Who's the big elevator maker?
Otis?
Otis.
Yeah,
Otis invented the elevator, which couldn't do that.
They have the automatic inertia brakes. If you fall too fast, the brakes lock.
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Well,
right.
apparently, people at a big company have people come and check them once a year, and maybe
So they certify them. Yes.
certify them. Maybe they change some lubrication that's important, or take any lubrication out, and keep the friction working the right way. I don't know what the.
Well, I don't know. I've looked at
issue
my thing in my building, and the last time they looked at it was a year ago. So and it's making noise. It's like scraping and squeaking and doing all kinds of things,
You got to get some more people to lubricate it.
Yeah.
You know what I did?
WD-40. WD-40.
It was making a squeaking noise, a grinding noise when we got up to my floor. So I went and got some WD-40 and did it, but it didn't seem to help.
Oh, that's too bad. Is yours a hydraulic? I know your building has what, 8 to 10 floors?
Yeah.
Floors, I'm sure it's probably.
There's a certain limit how far they do hydraulic, and then, because like skyscrapers aren't going to do hydraulic, they're going to be electrically controlled.
Well, what happened was, and I was told by somebody who knows this sort of thing, that here in Manhattan, all the elevators were run by hydraulics, and so they could only build, like my building is only 8 floors, because they can only build a elevator that goes as high as the highest point on the island or whatever, on the area where you live. And that was 8 stories because the water had to flow down and do things like that.
Absolutely.
Then they built electric elevators.
Yep.
And when they did that, there's a building just like this one. Looks just like this one, only it's 4 floors higher, and it has their elevators, and they're fine. Ours, I think, now may be electric. I think.
Yeah, they went from hydraulic to electric motors that had spools on it and they had cables and stuff. But nowadays they just build the motors into the outside of the elevator, and they go up these tracks and stuff. And so there are a lot, especially skyscrapers. You get in one, and you push the top.
Oh, you
button
get into a
and
skyscraper
You can't even
that
feel it move,
yeah, those things are just boom.
and they're quick.
Yeah, they're very quick. Unless you get some kid who comes along and then pushes every button.
Every floor.
Oh boy. So anyway, we got about 2 minutes left here. Anybody want to say anything?
I would get different rubber bands on your shoes just in case.
Different rubber bands on my shoes?
I don't know. So yeah, on your shoes. So if you have to
bounce.
Yeah.
Why not buy some Nikes with shock absorbers built in?
there you go.
Yeah, that's good too. I just bought myself some new shoes. I've been buying new shoes all the time. I'm looking for a pair of shoes that works good with neuropathy. And I think I found some that says they're good with neuropathy, so we'll have to see. They're coming any day now.
Get the insoles, especially with the walking you're going to do.
Yeah, but
Or that you might do.
this thing has everything all built in with the heels.
Okay.
It surrounds the heels, and So I'm just going to hope that they're okay. Otherwise, I'll just hobble around Paris.
I hope I get to talk to you, Alex, offline about France, because I was in Paris for a few years. So
Oh, really? You live there?
I was working and living there.
Wow, that must have been nice.
Oh, yeah.
You were in Paris itself.
Yes.
I got to tell you, I've been to some beautiful cities in my life. That's just the most beautiful city in the world.
My wife wants to go back.
San Francisco may have been the other one. I hear now not so much, but San Francisco was.
They're cleaning it up. It's just real slow.
Yeah, San Francisco was gorgeous, and what was the other one? Beijing was incredible. Just incredible.
Oh yeah, you spit on the ground at Beijing. It's $100 fine.
No, that's in where is it?
So you can do China. Come on.
That's not China.
Be
That's
nice
not.
to yourself, Alex.
Huh?
Be nice to yourself. Take another week for China.
China was a great, my favorite trip of all time.
We went back to France for the summer. We spent 3 weeks there. So I had some reason.
Sounds nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, you hear that? There's the music. Oh boy, it's not been nice tonight. Everybody's been happy and whatever. So you're not here tomorrow night, right, Josh?
No.
You're not here. Okay. And everybody, stay tuned for Amy Manuel, who's next.
No, she's not.
Well, you didn't tell me last night.
You said it and then discontinued it. I couldn't before I could get any words out. That was the last thing you said before you shut it down.
Yes.
Yeah, well, thanks everybody for
next week.
thanks everybody for warning me ahead of time. Okay.
We just thought you knew.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she never lets me know. She lets you guys know. Like, well, they'll probably tell Alex. Well, hey, don't count on that.
Tell us that we need to tell out.
Anyway, hey, listen, thanks everybody. Thanks to Jeff for being here tonight. And also, Richard, please call more often. You're great. You're terrific. You're down there in Virginia, right?
I live in Virginia, but I'm up here in New Jersey.
Okay. Well, figure out where you're going to live and let us know, okay? Charlie, thank you for being here. Josh, always a pleasure. Alan, always a pleasure with you. And Tony, good to see you as well. If everybody would give a big wave goodbye, I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. There they go, ladies and gentlemen. That's our citizens panel. There is absolutely no intersection tonight or for the rest of this week or all of next week because she's at the polls or something. Anyway, I will see you again tomorrow night. Same time, same station in life. In the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Good night, everybody.